We heard in the opening ritual of our liturgy this evening that today is 40 days after the celebration of Christmas. It seems that time goes by so fast, doesn't it? We don't even know frequently how quickly it happens. We wake up and we're celebrating Christmas. I just sent the goats for the Christmas trees from the Memorial Garden off to the goat farm, and I don't think they had time to finish eating the Christmas trees, and now we're starting to talk about the Lenten season. But the Lenten season will be upon us in just a few weeks, and we know that the hallmarks and the benchmarks of Lent are for us to make personal sacrifice. It's for us to increase our prayer, and it's for us to give alms to the poor. Next weekend, at all the liturgies throughout the Diocese of Camden, we will be hosting and launching what we used to be known as the House of Charity campaign, now known as the South Jersey Catholic Ministries Appeal. And that campaign will be held throughout our diocese, and our InPew will be held next weekend. Next weekend, because of the Super Bowl, we will not have an evening mass here. We tried to do it a couple years ago, and 6 people showed up for the evening mass. We love those 6 people, but if you think I'm going to be able to pry Father Infante away from the Super Bowl game, you have a better chance of me getting up and walking around this church than that happening. But I think when we reflect on those benchmarks, so we're going to have our InPew this evening, but when we reflect on the benchmarks, in the diocese, our Vicar General believes that we should have this campaign on Super Bowl Sunday, because he says more people go to church on Super Bowl Sunday outside of Christmas and Easter than any other Sunday. I'm not sure the logic of that, but I'll take his word for it. But I think we've learned a couple of things that we should think about when it comes to who we are as Christians. We just saw in what happened in Washington and Philadelphia, in a moment, our lives could be required of us. Life could come to an end. Because the prudent, though Christian, the prudent person would live their life as they're always living their life according to what God requires. And what God requires, and what Jesus made very, very clear to us, that those who have given much are required to share their blessings with those who are less fortunate. I remember reading the scripture passage one time that Jesus said, "The poor you will have with you always." And one time I was writing an article on that passage, and I decided to dig a little bit deeper into the narrative. And when I read the passage, I was comparing the way it was written in the gospel. One evangelist says, Jesus said, "The poor you will have with you always." But the Gospel of Mark, when he tells it, he adds a very interesting statement that Jesus said immediately after. He said, "The poor you will have with you always, and whenever you wish, you can do good to them." That was a very powerful proclamation of Jesus. Jesus was clearly indicating this, that the care of the poor and the needy is the criterion for judgment to enter into the reign of God. And he was very clear and very specific about it. He said it because many of his contemporaries, he noticed, were neglecting the poor. They were overlooking the poor. They had literally walked past their needs. And he follows it up with another story. You remember the story about the rich man, we traditionally call Dives, and the poor man that is named Lazarus. There are not a lot of people in the scriptures that are given names. But this man, Lazarus, is given a name. Do you know why he was given that name? Because the actual translation of the word is Eleazar. And Eleazar translates into the one whom God helps, the one whom God hears. And in the story, the rich man is punished. The shortened version of the story, he's punished in eternal damnation, and he's punished not because of what he did to Lazarus, who was poor and waiting outside of his home, outside of the gate. And he was just waiting for the crumbs that fell off the table that you would sweep to the dogs. But the man is not punished because he did something to Lazarus. He's not punished because he cast him out of the gate. He's punished because he failed to notice Lazarus. He failed to even recognize Lazarus. He didn't hear the cry of Lazarus. You know, there's a great saying that goes like this: those who are poor, those who are rich, help the poor in this world. And those who are poor in this world help the rich in the world to come. What that simply means is to the degree that we help our impoverished brothers and sisters is to the degree that we will be rewarded for our goodness. What does Jesus say? What you do for your brother and sister, you do for me. Jesus' point was very direct, it was very straightforward, and it was very blunt. He said, you must share your abundance with others who are in need. And he made that the criteria for entering into the kingdom, the eternal kingdom. What he really was pronouncing was, you need to open your ears. You need to open your eyes. You need to notice the poor that he puts in our path. His teaching was very clear. We must be a people who make efforts to be aware of the sufferings of other people. And so I ask you, are you aware of the voices of the Lazaruses that are around us? Do you know that one of the poorest cities in the entire United States is about 10 miles away in the inner city of Camden? You know, the people that are suffering, that are hungry, that are homeless, that are hurting, their voices cry out to us. The seminarians who are in need, who want to become priests, but they're dependent upon our financial support to help them to get there. Their voices cry out to us. The people that Catholic Charities assists throughout the entire diocese, their voices cry out to us. People with disabilities, their voices cry out to us. And I can go on and on and on. Have you ever had a day like this, that no matter what you did seemed to turn out wrong? No matter what you touched just seemed to go wrong? I used to be the executive director of this campaign before I came to you as your pastor. And one thing I can tell you with clarity is that this campaign really touches the lives of so many people, and the funds given to it can only be given for those purposes. There was a woman who came to me one day, and she came to me because she was just at wit's end. I'm going to say her voice was crying out. You see, she and her husband were trying just to make ends meet, as many families do. And he lost his job. Suddenly, there was a corporate merger takeover, and he went in one day and was told he was lost his job. And he was striving to find a new job, striving to help his family, He was doing whatever he could to make money. And behold, not only does he lose his job, but he's almost 8 months without employment. Didn't have the money coming in. Couldn't afford to buy insurance for his own family. Remember I said, you ever have a day like that when no matter what you did and what you touched, it went wrong? Then he's diagnosed with a form of blood cancer. And he's looking and he's going through all of these treatments, and he doesn't have insurance, and he sees the amount of money that is being expended for his treatments, and he begs his wife to euthanize him. He said, I can't live like this, knowing that our kids can't even find food for their table, that we can't provide for our kids. I don't want to live like that. And that's what made her voice be one of those voices that cries out. She came to the office, and the House of Charity, the Bishop's annual appeal at the time, helped that family. We connected him to be able to find a resource for him to be able to get the health care needs. We sent him to Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital, which was the only hospital in Camden providing charity care at the time. They took care of his needs. Catholic Charities provided food for that family. And we provided some of the resources to allow them to stay in their home. Do you know who did that? You did that. You did that through your gift to the House of Charity. Now we call the South Jersey Catholic Ministries Appeal. It's an interesting thing. The theme of this year's appeal is the theme of hope, because this is a Jubilee year, and our Holy Father has called us to be a people who are aware of the hope that exists in the world. I will tell you this, that campaign is not a campaign that is about help. It's really a campaign that is about hope. And what I'm asking of our parish is what I ask of you every year, and that is that you hear the voices of the people that are crying out to you for help. That tonight we will make our pledge to the House of Charity, South Jersey Catholic Ministries Appeal. So in the pews there are these cards, and I would ask everyone to kindly take one of these cards and a pen, and I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things with this card. So if you'd be so kind as to pass them down. Remember, I say the criterion that Jesus expects of us is that we share what has been given to us. So I'm going to ask on the upper left-hand corner where you put your name and your address, please, please, please put the phone number and the email address that you want us to use when we're communicating with you. If you have a new email address, please put it on this card, because as we review these cards, we will check it against our own database. And then the very first thing that I want you to do is above the line where your name is, I want you to write the prayer that is significantly important for your family. Because Father Infante and I take these cards each and every day, and we take a different card and we pray for that person's intentions. I place them under the Blessed Sacrament when we're having those special liturgies, or I pick your card for that day. So I want you to write the prayer that you want us to remember, your priests. And then I draw your attention to the gifts on the back of the card. I'm going to ask at least every parish family to minimally consider a pledge of $300, which can be made in 6 monthly installments, which really comes out to the price of a cup of coffee every day. Unless you go to Wawa. I went to Wawa the other day. Thank God they were having that special for $1. Although I was shocked at the price of a cup of coffee when I went there. You know, God gives to us proportionately. For some, $300 may be a sacrifice, but there are others in our parish who are very generous to this campaign, and they've given to us $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 or more to this campaign. And I ask you to do two things: to choose one of the gift amounts, and then I ask you to write it on the first line. Today I would make a one-time gift of blank and fill in the amount. And then on the second line, if you would like it to be a pledged gift, how many months would you like to do that in? 1 month? Would you like it 6 months? Anywhere between 1 and 6 months. Just write the amount of months you'd like to make that pledge. You can see it's written right under the total pledged gift and the number of monthly installments. I do not ask you to make a check today. We will send the appropriate information to you. If you wish to make your gift using the credit card, I ask you to just check off which credit card you want to use, and then in that space, please write your telephone number, and someone from my staff will call you for security purposes. If your circumstances prevent you from making a pledge at this time, I ask you to check the last box. And then I ask you to sign and to date your card. You know, brothers and sisters, you're not doing this for me. And we're not even doing it for the church. We're doing it because that's what God requires of us. And I want you to make it your gift to the Lord. So instead of having the ushers come around to pass the collection basket to collect these cards, I ask you to bring your own gift to the Lord's altar. You walk up and make it your gift to the Lord and place it in that basket. And I would ask if, Chris, you could provide us a little reflective music. And I ask you, brothers and sisters, at this time to place your pledge for the House of Charity, South Jersey Catholic Ministries Appeal in the basket before God's holy altar. And Jesus tells us, the poor you will have with you always, and whenever you wish, you can do good to them. In the name of all those who are helped and find hope in this campaign, I thank you for your loving and generous hearts. My brothers and sisters, let us stand and let us profess our faith.